Today in Myrtle Beach, NASCAR Cafe, of course, a huge place for fans to gather. And you did the comparison before, talking about Princess Diana, and I remember when her hearse was driving by with all the flowers on top. That's exactly the scene today at the NASCAR Cafe in Myrtle Beach. Jim Armstrong there with more on a memorial service being held right now. Jim?
That's correct. A very touching memorial service actually going on right now. Earnhardt's death was, of course, so unexpected. That leaves many people trying to come up with a way to cope with the loss of a man who a lot of people say was like a member of their family, even if they'd only ever seen him on television. Some of the ways for people to do that, buying up all the Earnhardt memorabilia they can find. Many, many others decided to come out for a memorial service like this one.
Total devastation. It was like I lost my father to me. It really was.
Number 3 is a shrine today.
He's a personification of his own sport.
Dale's fans showed up by the thousands to a place where they knew they'd find others feeling the same way.
He's just a legend. You never think something like that would happen to him.
I just couldn't work today. I had to leave work today to come see Dale. I mean, that's my whole work crew. We work on a huge crew, and half the crew couldn't even work. It's hard to believe a man in sports and NASCAR could mess up a whole town and a whole nation like this. It's just total devastation.
Many people spent the day in search of something physical to remind them of their hero.
I already have a whole shelf of things of him at home, and my car's got Earnhardt all over it.
NASCAR Cafe was swamped with memory hunters. Other stores all over Myrtle Beach sold out of pictures, autographs, souvenirs.
Feel like you know him and you don't, you know. We watch the race every Sunday, and it's hit really hard.
Empty shelves where number 3's die-cast car once was. T-shirt racks empty, all sold out early this morning. Look for Dale Sr.'s memorabilia on internet auction sites. Signed pictures that were $7 last week, now going for almost $1,200.
I've probably got 15 or 20 of the little replica cars I've been collecting through the years, and that's always who I pull for.
Knowing Dale won't be on the track again is reason enough for many to collect all they can.
I think it allows them to kind of turn to it and say, hey, you know, I've got something that represents what I thought was really good and really right.
Now the formal memorial service itself here at the NASCAR Cafe in Myrtle Beach is wrapping up. As you can see behind me, there's a moving tribute to Dale Sr. A lot of people holding up the number 3, of course. That's his NASCAR number, also some songs being played. Now even though the formal service itself is over, of course, you can still come by and visit, place flowers. People have even left a lot of personal notes on the car that you can see behind me here, and certainly you can still go ahead and do that even if the formal memorial service is over for right now.
Jim, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Live
Jim.
from NASCAR Cafe.
You know, a very interesting note to show how Dale Earnhardt was ahead of his time. He was one of the very first people to copyright his name. And you see the impact on the merchandising. It's unbelievable.
Well, if you need a place to express your condolences to the Earnhardt family, 2 funeral homes have set up memorials.
That's right, on the Grand Strand, the Macmillan Small Funeral Home has a memorial book available for fans to sign. The funeral home is located on 67th Avenue North in Myrtle Beach. Fans can stop by starting tomorrow to sign the book, and if you'd like, write a letter to the Earnhardt family. The letter and the books will be mailed next week.
And in the PD, fans can go to the Kistler-Hardy Funeral Home on Pearl Street in Darlington. Kistler-Hardy's set up a registered book for you to sign through the end of the week. That book as well will be sent to the Earnhardt family.
Just an emotional day all the way around.
Make sure you join us tonight at 7:30. It's going to be a celebration of Dale Earnhardt's life.
Look forward to that, Rich. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Tune in to the Used Car Shopping Network, Saturday mornings at 10:30 on WWMB TV 21.
Whoa. What?
Now there's a better way to get white bread with 4 times the calcium. Introducing Iron Kids. 2 slices have as much calcium as a glass of milk, and kids love it. Plus, Iron Kids has just as much fiber as whole wheat bread.
Man, I'm stuffed.
With 4 times the calcium, it's not just white bread, it's Iron Kids bread.
It's a sprint to the finish at Addie's Harbor Dodge, where just announced factory programs mean now through February 28th, get the biggest savings ever on every single new Dodge in stock. Incredible savings on Ram trucks from just $14,990. Massive discounts on Caravans from only $16,990. Dakotas, Durangos, Grand Caravans, even Intrepids. All prices below invoice. Finance any vehicle from just 0.9. It's the best attitude ever. You'll do better at Addie's Harbor Dodge, Myrtle Beach.
Have you seen the hottest new car in America? Check it out at Myrtle Beach Daewoo on the Highway 17 bypass. And look at this, a brand new Daewoo with $1,000 down is just $78.88 and only $150 a month. No tricks, no gimmicks. Daewoo's flagship sedan, the loaded Laganza, is under $16,000. We've got over 75 new Daewoos and a huge selection of used vehicles, including trucks, vans, and SUVs. Myrtle Beach Daewoo on the Highway 17 bypass, just north of 501.
You're watching WPDE News Channel 15 at 6 with Allyson Floyd and Keith Sterling. And now, the Grand Strand and PD's #1 source for local news. WPDE News Channel 15.
Welcome back to News Channel 15 at 6. Of course, more coming up on the death of Dale Earnhardt in sports. But Chris Rock, one of the most famous comedians in the nation. He has roots in Georgetown County. It's home to his mother, Rose Rock.
Rock tells us she always knew her son was destined for success, but Chris is not the only successful one in the family. WPDE News Channel 15's Tanya Brown talked with Rose Rock about raising her 7 children and moving back to Georgetown in part 1 of Conversations with Rose Rock.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Rose Rock is a typical mom who takes much pride in her children. Her home is filled with portraits of her 7 children. You may not recognize all of their faces, but one definitely sticks out. You know him as Chris Rock.
Starting next week, both of you get a 200% raise.
Everybody knows Chris Rock. To me, he's just Chrissy. No big deal.
Chris is Rose's oldest son. She raised him and 4 of his younger brothers in New York with her late husband, Julius.
I raised my children, even though I was in New York, I raised them the same way that I was raised. And like, they will all tell you, they were not allowed to get away with anything. Chris has this saying, he says, my mother was the general and my father was the troops.
Rose grew up in Andrews, South Carolina, where life was peaceful, but not always easy.
I was very, very poor, but I had a fun childhood.
She left Andrews after high school. In the early 1960s, Rose migrated to the Big Apple, where she got married and started the Rock homestead.
I was blessed to have married the kind of man that I did, and he was really into his family. He was a family person.
She and her husband instilled values and morals in their children at an early age.
I taught them they were better than to do certain things. That you're too good to go out here and do this, or you're too good to follow this crowd.
Rose has her kids held to those values, and that's why her 5 oldest sons are so successful. Andre is a businessman.
He owns Julius Rock Trucking, which is named after his father in New York.
Tony is a stand-up comedian who has the potential to rival his older brother, Chris.
He just signed last week to do a sitcom for ABC.
Brian does work for syndicated talk shows like Ricky Lake.
Brian, and as he told me last night, he is a sound engineer.
Then there's Kenny, the aspiring actor.
He wants to model and he wants to act, and I expect great things from him.
And Chris, Rose never doubted her firstborn would one day grace the covers of all the top magazines. She says even with all his fame, Chris hasn't changed.
He's so humble about it, and he takes it as such. He doesn't live this high, Hollywood lifestyle.
Her 2 youngest children, Andy and Jordan, live with her in Georgetown. Rose still stresses the values she and her late husband established with their older children. Those values remain grounded and always count your blessings. In Georgetown, Tanya Brown, WPDE News Channel 15.
And join us tomorrow night for part 2 of Conversations with Rose Rock. We'll show you how Rose has opened her heart to other children.
Well, Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski is up next with our complete weather forecast. Stay with us.
just so you get used to all the hauling you'll do with the new Chevy Silverado. We'd like you to haul away something for us.